Evening. If everyone here could just silence your cell phones, we would appreciate that. Thank you all for being with us. When you're speaking tonight, if you can just turn on your mics so that they're green, and we're a little short, so may have to share with one another. Chuck, do you mind leading us in prayer and pledge?
Right. Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this part of, dear God. We thank you for our community. Father, we stand together. Father, I just, again, thank you for all that you're doing in our community and all that you're going to do. Father, we pause just for a second to reflect on the and we just reflect and give thanks to the men and women who lives God, I pray that everything that we say and do tonight integrity, we display that shines bright for this community, and we just give you praise.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any additions to the agenda this evening? If not, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The agenda is approved. We have one item tonight under new business, and that is our third and final meeting on the SPLOST 8 projects and expenditures with our local municipalities, and hopefully we can come to a consensus tonight. I feel like we have come to a consensus with the cities of Avalon and Martin. We do appreciate you being here this evening, but we feel like we've come to a consensus, and we very much appreciate the city of Toccoa being with us this evening so that we can come to an agreement or have further discussion. I believe the last meeting that we had all together, there was an offer of 80-20 on the table, and I think that's where we left it at that meeting. So,
excuse me. And I know at the last meeting, the 80-20 was not acceptable for the city, and so we went back and looked at to make sure our numbers for the assessment of what type of revenue would be bringing in, the accuracy of that. That's where we came with a $39 million mark, which was come up with a third party. And that's based off of a regression of the past 15 years, so that's still a very conservative estimate. And I went back and looked through, there's a lot of services that the county provides for the entire county, like all 27,000 citizens. And while I understand that 80-20 is not, that's difficult for y'all to achieve, the reason it's difficult for us to go much lower than that is these are the county-wide services that we wholly support. EMS, ambulances, the rescue unit, the hospital, the library, E911, dispatch, sheriff's office, the jail, state court, juvenile court, probate judge, magistrate court, superior court, accountability court, district attorney, and public defender. So these are a lot of expenses that we have to incur for the entirety of the county. And so I'd like to propose that we do come down to 77-23, which would be an additional 3% for the city. And based off our estimates, that would put your portion at about 8.8.
I have a question. With the total items that you had, at our last meeting was 29,103,000. Is that number still the same as far as your total projects? Because at that time, that would have been 75% of the new number that you've cut up, 39 million. So if you go to 77% rather than the 75 you had last time, what's that extra 2% covering for you?
Well, I think some of that is we don't have the final numbers on all of these projects. I think that is a challenge right now. And there's a lot of things that, our original, from what our department heads requested was, I believe, $43 million. And so we made a lot of significant cuts to get that number beneath 30 million. And so we have a lot of things that were cut that would still be advantageous to the citizens.
So do you have an updated list at the 77% that the county would be, how you would be using those funds?
The 77% is estimating revenue at $29,650,000, which is almost right on point for our list.
I think they want the list.
It's the same list.
We
the same
supplied
list.
it. We supplied it.
29,103, Christian?
So at a 77-23 split, we're looking at the county portion being $29,650,855. City of Toccoa portion being $8,856,749. The list we provided you showed a project cost of $29,103,000. So it's right on point of what those costs would be,
So it went up about 500,000, and you just put it to one of those items?
based on the split, yes, sir.
Are you proposing you would agree to 75-25?
No, sir, I was just asking questions so I could understand better the split. What is your total for the level 1 projects?
Christian?
What we would anticipate for governmental facilities is about 14 million. Are you referring to if we were to do it through an IGA or through population distribution?
Why would that change? Because if you have, these are your level 1 projects, what does it matter if you enter into an agreement with us or if we do a population split?
Well, it depends on how you
I
want
would
to.
think those numbers would be the same regardless.
No, it depends on how you want to fund it. If we were to do it through an IGA, we wouldn't be able to fund it more, so we would have to issue a bond. If we were to do it through Tier 1, we'd probably fund most of it in cash.
I'm sorry.
It's cost the same. Doesn't matter, it's not gonna change the amount of money you're getting.
Also
Cost
change,
is cost. A building
but it
costs-
changes the flexibility of how you spend the money.
We have to be extremely specific in,
Yeah, if you
That's
go,
what we're asking for, because you haven't given us, a estimated cost. We want a real cost. And I understand that you said that you don't even know because you're just, yesterday on the radio, it said that you're just meeting with people to get these facts, so you don't know what the cost is. But if
for
it's
which project are you referring to?
the judicial building.
Still gathering data on the judicial building like we described in the last meeting.
And we need to know numbers. I mean,
We haven't made a decision on which building we're going with yet.
But does it really matter on what your number's going to be? Because the way that I was explained, it was explained to me that it would be $12 million in debt service, and then $333,000 for the jail, and $2 million for the judicial building. And that's how it came up to the 14 million. So if you're not going to finance anymore and increase the amount of your bond, and just pay that out of your collections, I'm still uncertain how the level 1 projects can fluctuate.
I think my thoughts on this is we should be focused on what is the split percentage-wise and not be focused on the numbers of a particular project, because while we may not have those numbers, it is my understanding that we don't have exact estimates from your projects either.
Yes, sir, I agree what you're saying, but the problem is, when you get down to it, this is a math problem. It's, if we have to make a decision on agreeing on a certain percentage with an agreement, or letting it split by population, you really have to do the math.
Correct.
And if you do the math, we need to know what your level one projects are going to be. Because if I read your letter correctly, is if we do a population base split, your level one project may or may not increase. So that's why I don't understand how they could increase if you're telling us it's 14 million and you're not taking on any other debt. I mean, I would think your level one projects is your level one projects. That helps us do the math to see what's going to be better for the city, whether if we enter into the agreement or if we split with the population base, because we have to do the math on it to know what the final numbers are.
Yeah, I mean, the way we've got it currently laid out is if we went to a population split, we would spend probably 26 on Tier 1 projects.
You would increase it from 14 million to 26 million?
That is not increasing the cost of the project, that is the financing mechanism we would use.
No, you have to declare your level one projects.
That is correct.
So you would be declaring not 14 million, but 26 million. Am I understanding correctly?
It is still the same project, it would be financed over a shorter term period.
I understand that, but legally you have to declare these are our level one projects.
Correct.
So right now, I'm understanding.
The cost
it's
would not
14
change.
It's 14 million. But if we
Is-
go with a population base, am I hearing that you'll say that level one projects would then, on the calculation, be 26 million?
It's the debt service, it's the way that it is financed. It does not change the cost of the project. There's $26 million in cost for that project. We can, if we're able to reach an IGA, we would actually be able to extend the timeline on that so that we could share more money with the city. And that is our intent, is to be able to give you more money. Because if we are not able to reach the IGA and we go to a population distribution, then you would actually receive about $4 million less. And that's not what we want.
You originally asked for almost $11 million. At 7723, it's 8.8. 7525, you're going to be very close to that $11 million you originally asked for on the new estimate. And if it comes in over, like SPLOST 7 has, you're going to be over that number that you asked for.
Yeah.
Originally, the original list you brought in here.
Can you turn your mic on, please?
Which figures?
Which figures?
The 7525 is not on your paper, on
We
this
can-
paper.
We can
Understood.
get that.
We wanna be
I
at
propose
7723, but we're
7723.
trying to work with you to find a middle ground.
We want you to be at 2872.
That's the first offer we've heard.
No, not necessarily. But
In this room,
tonight,
I think it behooves us all to negotiate in good faith, and I admit you guys have some good projects, some worthy projects, and there's nothing that I'm going to say against anything that you've obviously put a lot of homework into your list, and far be it from anyone on this side to say anything negative about it. But I do think that an IGA, and I know that's where you're leaning, and I think it would also get us money quicker,
Yes, sir.
funds quicker. But yeah, I think we need to negotiate in good faith, and because there's never enough money, right?
What would constitute good faith? I mean, what have we not done that's not good faith?
Well, no,
I
I'm
don't
just.
think that's what he's saying.
No, I'm not. I think the 7723, though, is the last thing that, I thought that's where we already were.
Yeah, I think in the letter, it was the last and best final offer.
Right.
That's where we desire to be, but we're here to work with you guys tonight. So if there's
What
a
do you
different
think
number on the table, let's start working on it.
What do you think about 2872? Not what do you think about it, but what you think about it, but.
I would much rather be at 7525 because I think it meets both of our needs and we both can be successful with our original project list if we could do 7525.
I agree with that. I do.
I mean, it gets you very, very close to the original number that you asked for and provides us with enough funds and flexibility to be able to pursue the projects that we have on the list. Anything past that, I just can't get there.
And if you
Michelle, I'm
look,
trying, I mean, why does that not
I
make sense?
I can't see it.
What do you
So
mean you
here-
can't see it? Like, I don't understand.
Wait a minute.
this is my thing, if you look at the total numbers, if you look at the total county population that we have to provide for, the numbers in the city and then the numbers in Avalon and Martin, if you actually add those together and then see the portions, it's like a 75-25.
But you're also over there naming off services that y'all do for the whole county, but you're also not naming the fact that you have income that comes in off of these too, like the probation and all of that. Y'all have income. You're sitting here projecting the fact, or that this is, you act like we don't do anything.
That is
And-
not
and
our
that's
communication.
That's what I'm coming across as. Y'all provide all of this, and y'all are so great. And you don't provide we don't provide one thing for the citizens of the city of Toccoa or the county. We do.
That was not what we were trying to imply at all.
Yeah, spinning off from what she says, I agree. You've been listing since the beginning the different items under the Title I, the different projects. And I agree, the jail, I agree, county, the sheriff, everywhere. But we provide water, and I don't think anything has ever been mentioned from their side about all that we have with the water and providing into the county.
And our expenses that deal with that.
And with what we have upgrades that are desperately needed in the years ahead, immediate years ahead.
And we provide sewer.
Right.
And we
Those are-
provide gas lines to people inside the county
And
agree.
another thing is,
that we have to maintain.
Yeah, we don't disagree with it. You have those enterprise funds that you have to maintain, but those all have much more significant revenue sources than ours.
They
Like
also have
ambulances.
much more significant maintenance.
costs us
Yeah,
money.
and I don't mean to take away from that, but it is, when we look at what we have on an annual basis, we have to be able to recoup some of those expenses, and SPOST is a way we can make these capital improvements throughout the
It's
county.
also the way that we recoup some of our expenses.
Yeah,
And it's
and-
also some of the ways that we provide services throughout the county, like the water, like the gas, like the sewer.
That all are fee-based
And if you
enterprise
look at
funds.
our list of things that we have asked to put this splosh toward, it only benefits everyone, including growth in this county and the city that people want. So if you agree with us so much, come up and meet us.
At 75-25.
No,
That's equitable.
You asked, so you want
Well-
more than $11 million.
When you talk about equity.
you want $30 million.
Our list didn't change. You originally asked for 11 million. I've seen no number over $11 million that you've asked for anything over 11 million, right?
Our list hasn't changed, but our
So if-
list will change if we cannot get the money.
What's the number at 75-25?
At 75-25, the county would get 28.8 and the city would get 9.6.
And another thing too, when you talk about equitable and all that, you realize that most of the money that comes in from the SPOST comes from the city. Comes from Walmart, Mike Jones, all these places.
Home Depot.
Home Depot.
And y'all get
All
your
the
part of that
things-
too.
All the things down Big A Road. It doesn't come from out in the county. Most of the money comes from within the city.
But our county citizens shop at those locations.
Of course they do, and your county citizens.
So does Franklin County, so does Hart County, so does Habersham
Agree with
County.
that.
So does Oconee County, South Carolina. So it's not a matter of only Stevens County citizens supporting this splash. And it's not a matter of only Stevens County citizens being the whole reason why you're going to get $30+ million.
Well, we're trying to negotiate, and that's the goal tonight. It's not to
And
pit
it
each
is.
other against each other and tear down one another's projects or say that your project needs more attention than ours. We're trying to find what is equitable based on the numbers of the people that have to be provided for.
If I can go back, I just have to work through my logic, so bear with me a little bit. The 14 million that we talked about, I recall at our last meeting, you said it would be between 14 million and 16 million would be the level 1 projects. But tonight, it's 26 million, is what I'm hearing. Because I was confused even last time, at our last meeting, when it was talked about I think it was even 12 to 16 million, and I finally got a hold of what you were doing with that. So Christian and I had been corresponding back and forth to nail down your level 1 projects. And that was where I got the 14,333,000 and how that would go for, and that you would not be issuing any more bonds for the work. It's pretty much that. So coming in tonight, I was thinking your level 1 projects was the 14 million, maybe go to 16 because you had mentioned that at our last meeting, but I'm totally confused of how it could go to 26 million. And can you help me understand what those projects, I believe in your projects, y'all, you have vetted those out, I'm not questioning those, I'm trying to understand the numbers.
It would be a change in the funding strategy because of the limitations of the population split under the 5. Fund the project differently. It's not a change in the total project cost.
Sure,
The
no,
projects
I'm
we're
not-
going to do, that's the only difference.
It's the way you finance it.
That is correct. So
So-
if we went with the 6-year IGA, we both have a lot more flexibility if things change over the course of the SPLOST, the projects we're going to work on under that 6-year agreement. It's much more restrictive if we go with population distribution.
Understand.
And that's all we're trying to say.
But we're going 6 years regardless, if it's population or with an agreement.
No, we'd go 5 years if it was population distribution possible.
What's the monthly cost of your level 1 projects?
So if we fund more than 24 months of level 1 projects, then it would be a 6-year population distribution.
Right.
Which is what we would probably be funding to be able to get those 6 years. We would be funding it mostly through cash. The fact is that if we have to go population distribution, it's more advantageous for the county to fund those level 1 projects and not have to issue bonds for the citizens. So that's the way the county would handle it.
If your level 1 projects exceed 24 months, you're required to go 6 years.
Yes, it would be 6 years.
Yeah, it would be 6 years, but it's still advantageous to not incur those bonds and pay it in cash.
So population distribution is designed to fund level 1 projects. SPLOST is a county tax, and the goal of entering into that IGA with the cities is to provide some common ground and some support for multiple projects. I'm sorry.
If we do not come to an agreement, you're not going to issue bonds. You're just going to pay it out of the revenues that come in.
That's our current strategy right now.
And if we do enter into agreement, you are going to issue the bonds.
Be more likely to issue the bonds.
Yeah.
So
I'd like to
is that
say
just,
something.
help me understand, is that just a strategy to encourage us to enter into an agreement? Because I would think the math either way would be the same. Either you want
because
to pay
of-
interest or you don't want to pay interest on bonds.
It's the restrictive nature of the population distribution. We have, like Commissioner Rick was saying, there is a lot less flexibility on both of our parts if we go to the population distribution.
Only if you decide not to issue bonds like you were if we,
No, the projects,
Y'all have some math?
the projects
Y'all want
are.
to hear my math?
Yes.
Sure, Miss Libby.
Okay? Because we can go on and on about that. It's
Let me get your
making, swearing me out. Okay, so my fellow commissioners may not like this, but I know what y'all want, and I know what we say we need and we want. So if we do a 74, would that be 76, what did I do with that? 76-24 split. That would, with the 500, that's 500,000 off the top for the 2 other municipalities. So we have, that would give us, yes, I've got it. I went and made sure I did my math right because it's been a long time. So anyway, That would give us $495,627. That would give the city 10 million, I'm sorry, it's 10 million. That would be 28 million on the other. 10,011,977. So we're coming closer to what everybody wants. And again, that was 28,495,627. And that's close to what both of our, I mean, I have to be reasonable. I'm trying to be reasonable here, and I know my fellow commissioners might be upset with me for this, but when I look at what the total, I'm looking at a total SPOS, the number I'm seeing right here, maybe I'm looking at the wrong one, is $28,826,800. Okay? And, I mean, I just think that is more fair, it's more reasonable, and I think it's the right thing to do, is my opinion, and we can settle this and be done with it. It's not horrible for either side, and it pretty much gives both sides what they wanted. And that's what I got to say about it. And that's all I'm going to say. That's where I am with it, and what everybody else wants to do, they can go ahead.
So you
I'm
agree
sitting
to
here
that?
now.
I mean, they do recess.
2674. That's what she said.
That's
26.
Yes, 74.
You said 74-26 split.
Yes, ma'am.
You said what now?
74-26, and those are the numbers, and I ran it,
7426.
by our finance director over here, yes. James?
Chris, do y'all need the numbers?
I don't need the numbers, I'm fine, yeah.
But I mean, if we don't look at the split, everybody's like, well, I want this split, and I want that, and I want that, you know, because that sounds better, and that's more, but if we look at what we asked for, that's close, right there.
Well,
That's what we wanted, and what y'all wanted, that's the number, so why are we squabbling over it? I'm not understanding, I think that's the number.
Well, am I understanding
And I
that's only
wasn't saying
1% off of what Commissioner Fry had offered?
The formula, I'm sorry.
I'm only one of five, I'm just saying.
Mine was 7327.
She was,
327.
So Commissioner Fry just settled for 27,
27.
and you said, no, there's no way you could do that, but it's only off 1%.
I didn't think
7327.
I said no way. I was just trying to get a dialogue going because we haven't really been exchanging numbers.
Right.
We've just been talking.
Mine was
What's
7327.
Well,
Y'all would align to,
And then you said
y'all would
Well,
align to
let me-
I said
7426?
let me throw this out here, because
That's the number Debbie just threw out, 7426, right?
We went out, now we did
Y'all
too,
throw it out.
7327.
Oh, no, I
Debbie
said
threw
Deb-
out, Debbie threw out 26% for us, 74 for
Yes. And the numbers aligned with
That's what I
what,
just
pretty
said.
much what each side asked for. So I felt like if we quit looking at, oh, they're getting this percentage and it's more than mine, and if we don't look at that, or for whoever is, or might not, whatever, that's what everybody said their needs were, what we wanted, you know, to each provide, and the numbers align.
Chris,
And so I don't see why that should be a problem for either side. What was there? Where they did theirs?
No, they didn't be on one from what Joe just offered.
7327.
let me throw this out here, since I came into it trying to understand the math, the logic, but if we want to have a conversation not on really how things, the mechanics of it and how things are going to be spent, and if we just want to negotiate numbers, we're off from your last offer 8.75%. So why don't we just split the difference evenly, and then that would come, that the city would get 27.38, and the county would get 72.62. And it's an even split of our difference, because right now we're off 8.75%.
27.38 and what?
What's the?
72.62.
And 27.38.
I make a motion, we go into recess and the county discuss and this room over here, this
I don't think we need to do that. I think it all needs to
If
be
you're gonna,
talked
if you're
out
gonna
right
talk
here.
about it, talk about it. That's what you want, transparency. Talk about it.
The 74 is the middle number.
I'm good.
I just think it splits the difference evenly. And
I'm good with the 7426.
So anything past that number, you agree you're gonna get more than you originally asked for, right?
I'm just
We've been
saying,
talking about projects, and y'all are questioning our numbers. Anything past that number, you're getting more than you originally asked for on the
questioning the
list.
numbers because we keep getting different numbers.
You have not got different numbers.
You getting, the only reason why you're changing the way you're talking is because and throwing out what you're throwing out is because you're either gonna use bonds to support your project, or if you're gonna sit here and you're gonna do this, you're gonna pay it, so you're gonna go from, well, let me see, 12,
thought we moved
14,
away from
16
that.
million, 26 million, 29 million. So what are you gonna go to?
We went to 7426, and I thought we came off that whole subject, and we're looking at what kind of everybody
That just
wanted and
offered-
trying to
just
get
split the
there.
difference, and it's
Mayor Carter
good
just
for
offered you,
everybody.
just came back with an alternative.
7, basically,
So-
with some change on each
It's an
side.
even split of our difference.
Yeah.
Actually, the next number was actually a 7525 we were talking
Why
about.
can't we just go with
I went to
what was just
74.
offered to y'all?
I
Are
feel
you,
like the 7426 is a lot more palatable to me because it gets you, that puts you at 10 million.
Puts them
That's
in the-
only 1 point off of your original request.
We asked for 11 million. And this would get us 10,500,000.
And that's a conservative
We're gonna come up with
number.
500,000.
Right.
It is, and I
And that's a
would,
conservative
Excuse me,
number.
just for the record,
That's why
once
I
we
think
take
just
the
splitting it
500,000
even
off
is
the
good for
top
everybody.
from the city of Martin Avalon, each percentage up or down is changing $385,000. So you can just think 385, 1%.
That's why I was trying to
1%.
have recess, not to not be transparent, but just to make sure these numbers allow us to do these level 1 projects. So that was the reason I was wanting to make sure that you've done the numbers over there and talking with this split that we're trying to negotiate, that it's not going to keep us from doing these projects.
so one thing I would like to mention as far as the total revenue that's forecasted is, this is not Craig's numbers. These came from a third party from Rochester they looked at a 15-year regression off of analysis the past 15 years, and their middle number was the 39 million. If you only look back 5 years and you look at recent growth in the community since 2020, it actually goes up to 43 million, because and that is, if I had to, bet a crisp $20 bill on it, I would probably anticipate we would be closer to those numbers, because that's what we look at back at SPLOST 7, and we have both received more off of SPLOST 7 than we previously had.
You're already over the projected collection on SPLOST 7, and we're 15.
We've got 15 months more.
Right, so 15 months more of that SPLOST revenue. So if we went with the recommendation of the 7426, the conservative estimate puts you at 10.
So I think going with your logic, and I agree that we'll probably collect more, and it sort of helps both of us. If you're willing to give up more, you just said you're thinking we're going to collect more, which I agree. So if we just take our difference, just like buying a house, you're here, we're here, this is our gap, let's come together in the middle, and coming together in the middle.
But we've already moved several times from the original 80.
We were at 80, 75, 25,
Yeah.
and now to 74.
Well, I'd like to say it's not, where we've been, where we're headed. So if we can split this difference, I think we're being fair to everybody, splitting our
And
difference.
what would that do?
72.
73.5.
27.37, I believe is what total.
It's on your spreadsheet right here.
You're going to cut the development.
Here's the, do you want this?
27.
It's that final,
It doesn't
on the
make,
end.
to go back to the math problem of this, the math
That
doesn't
we did.
support us going less than 74.
We're already below our project number, even if we do the 74. We're slightly below it, what we wanted, and y'all are too. And I think that's fair. We can't go any lower. Now, these are conservative numbers, so I feel if we do this, both the city
Yeah.
and the county and Martin and Avalon are gonna be able to do, you know, what we would like to do for the citizens of Stevens County.
Well, I think splitting it, our difference in the middle is extremely fair for everybody, and that way we're all on the same page and we can work together on it and all support it, but I don't think it benefits any of us to keep going back and forth on it, because we don't want to lose the confidence of the public, and split the difference, and helps everybody to make it pass.
The math won't let me support going below 74.
If you split-
So I do want to point this out. Debbie just brought it, or you want to?
Go ahead.
So from where we originally started, at you wanting 68, the 68, 30, 34, sorry. Or 30, that's right, I don't do math in public normally.
68 and 32.
Okay, sorry. So you started 68, 32, we started at 80, 20. So if you split that difference in the middle, that brings us to 74.
Go. What?
So our original stance,
Back to that 74 figure.
so we originally wanted 80, 20. You originally wanted the 68. If you split, like the mayor recommended, to go split our differences to the middle, that brings us to 74.
Doug, did you hear that?
64
That's
26.
Doug came up with,
There's 12% difference, basically, in what you're talking
The
about.
middle is 74. I just wrote it out in the lines,
Yeah.
even though I already figured it out.
Offers, the middle would be 7.
Yeah, just to make sure.
he said that 74 was the middle, Doug. You said it was 77.
We actually gave up more.
The difference is,
We gave up more.
the city was at 31.75 last year. That's what we've always collected on the previous SPLOST. So if we go from 31.75 to the 27.38, the difference is 8.75.
I think those numbers
Yeah,
were reflective of what was happening at that time. These numbers
Yeah.
reflect now.
These numbers also are according to everybody at this table, and all of the gurus are sitting here saying, we're gonna collect a whole lot more money, and we're gonna end up in all of this kind of stuff. So right now, you're looking at it saying that you're collecting $4 million, basically more than what you started out to say. And so, you know, okay, I understand that, but it still shouldn't change the percentages. We should, I mean, why should we expect less in Splash 8 than, in percentage-wise, than we did in 7? Why should we expect less? Why should we go back to anybody
It's-
that is out, that we provide services to, and the citizens of Stevens County and the city of Toccoa, and say, you know, what's our explanation to them if we accept less than what we're getting right now? Because you're already saying that Splash 7 is creating more money than what it was predicted to be.
Right.
So I just want to know what to say to the people that ask me. You know, so we're going from 31.
I would be more concerned to not take an
32%. Now
IGA.
you're wanting us to go down
But you're
to
getting more-
something else. So tell me what I need to tell the people as to the reason why
So,
we
You're
should
gonna
be
be able to
expecting less money.
You tell them that you are going to be able, the split is based on the projects that the city had and the county had, and the split is based on that, and the city's going to be able to do their projects, and the county's going to be able to do theirs. That's what you tell them.
and I think that
But
it's...
that's not at the percentages that you're giving out.
So I think it's important to note that there's a reason that these are renegotiated There's a reason the General Assembly of the state said that these SPLOST negotiations are renegotiated at the end of each SPLOST cycle. Because the market changes, the conditions changes, the needs of each municipality as well as the counties change.
That's
And
right.
and right now,
This time we didn't
there
have
is
$5 million
a,
water plant.
there's a lot going on that the county needs. So I think that we're trying to address that, and as far as what to tell the citizens of why to choose an IGA versus a population distribution, is if you don't sign the IGA, you would get $4 million less.
And when you talk about the needs, the county does have more needs, but at the last SPLOST, we didn't need a $100 million water plant, and we didn't have $30 million for sewer at the last SPLOST either, which we do now. So there's,
So the,
Money's not, I mean, you got 7 million in there for those two. So, I mean, that's not even gonna,
no, but it's going to, we know that that won't pay for a water plant, but it will pay to patch the one up that we hope we'll continue to use for the
And we
next
know,
6
and we're gonna sit here, and we know the fact that we can sit here and say, okay, we want 95% of this because we can put it toward a water plant. Y'all know, and I know, you will never agree to that. So.
well, it's a county tax. It is a county tax.
Basically, if you're looking at it, we're within
1%.
2%
Yeah.
of what mayor is proposing to y'all.
But
And
we use
what
the same
y'all are
logic,
proposing to us.
but we use the same logic to get to 74.
So if we're within 2%, split it.
We've already split.
So you're going to give us 27%?
No.
You just said you've
74,
already
26.
split it.
74,
We came from 80,
26.
our original offer was at 80-20. And so we have
You want
come
me to tell
down
you how I
all the
feel
way
about
to
that
74.
80-20%? Do you honestly want me to tell you how I feel about that
I
80-20%?
think
We
we
know.
know.
I think it would behoove us all to keep our cool and let's come to an agreement. Let's get this done.
Totally.
I'm not gonna, like I said, your projects
Let's
are
get
good
it done
projects.
tonight.
Let's be mature about this and not give the radio and the paper a lot of things to write about.
I agree.
Well, I think we all agree that hopefully, as the community's growing, that we're going to collect more. So if, and I can understand Commissioner Jameson's point in that what we've been getting is the 31%. So if you drop too far, it's going to be a different commission 6 years down the road, and we're setting a precedent of what our percentages are going to be. It's lower, we're dropping it, but if we're not having to drop it as much, it's just going to help with that precedent. That's one thought. But to me, if we're strictly talking about splitting percentages and not talking about the makeups of the different project ones and the meat of it, the easiest and cleanest professional way to do it is to split our difference evenly. And it's good for everybody. We're all going to collect more regardless. It's only 1% at the end of the day. So to me, it's just a fair way of doing it and not back and forth as far as, criticizing anyone's projects. I have full confidence that you have vetted what you're going to do and believe in what you're going to do, and that's for yours, as well as the city's efforts. So I think an even split down the middle of our differences of what we were collecting last year and what we will be accepting for this year, that split is the 8.75%, which would give the county 72.62 and the city 27.38. And we would still be collecting less than what we had hoped on our previous split, and that's where we come up with those projects. I just think that's a friendly, easy way to do it, and we're done, and we're all going to collect more regardless.
Unfortunately, the math doesn't let me go past 74.
I hope we're not at a stalemate, but, we're at 74-26. Maybe it would be best if we can't settle it today, that y'all could go think about it and get back with us and meet, talk or whatever.
1% is $390,000.
Made a motion for it.
So in the long run, basically,
I think there's a motion on the-
$390,000 isn't going to make or break one of your projects.
Michelle, there's a motion on the table.
What is the motion? I'm
If it's only
sorry.
300,000, then
The
74.
motion, he made a motion to go into.
Oh, I'm sorry. I second the motion to go into recess.
Everybody needs to calm
Got
down
a
a little
motion
bit.
and a second to recess for a moment.
The longest motion that's
All those
in the
in
last 2.5
favor,
years.
let it
Thank
be
you,
known by
Chuck.
saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, we will recess for a moment.
Do need to refill my water.
Got it. Let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
We're resuming.
So 7426 is a no-go for y'all.
Mayor, what's our, did we decide?
We're off a 1%. The numbers that I gave would be 72.62. What if we just rounded that up in your favor and make it 73, and we get 27? So instead of 74.26, it's 73.27.
I just go back to you talked about splitting our difference down the middle, and that brings us right at 74.
Can you show me that math?
So if we were our offer was 80-20, and then I believe previously it was 68, so that was a 12-point difference. And so if you move that by 6, which is half, that gets us to 74-26.
Okay. So I think what it is a different math problem. What the city is looking at is what we were collecting on the last splost, which is 31.75%. So we're comparing what we were collecting to what we will be collecting. So the difference on your final offer that you gave us in the letter was the 23%. When we do the math on that, the difference is 8.75, and that's how it's coming up with the number that we're offering, because it's an even split down the middle. It's a different calculation compared what you're comparing. You're comparing your offers. We're comparing what we had been getting to what we will be getting. And that's how we come up with the difference of the 8.75.
So your position is each SPOS shouldn't be looked at independently, but it should be based on the previous SPOS.
I do, and that's why I wanted to drill down into understanding your level 1 projects, because in the past that has not been a strategy that the county has used. Looking back, I don't know if they've ever been level 1 projects, which I'm glad that those are there, and you need to do those. I'm not being critical at all. But when you have that caveat into the calculation, it becomes a math problem. And so we need to be able to do our math, and if the level 1 projects float from 12 million to 14 million to 26 million, it's hard for us to do our math to know what we would get if we can't come to an agreement. So, but we don't want to go on that route. We just want to negotiate percentages. We don't want to get into the meat of that part. So if you just want to split numbers and percentages, this is the difference, and let's just meet in the middle.
Yeah, I just, like 74-26 is where I'm at, based off of, like you said, the math. And I've got to look at how that affects the county, and going below that, I don't feel comfortable with, because it is not in the best interest of the county.
Ours is 2377 in the best interest of the city.
So you just changed it.
2377.
7327.
Yeah, 7327, excuse
You're
me.
doing some serious.
We're only
I'm
off,
tired.
we're only
I get
off
it, Gail.
1%.
7327, yeah. 7327, in the best interest of the city.
And to that 74-26, I mean, that puts you at over $10 million for the requested 11. I feel like that's really close. It's not like a 50% cut or anything.
So another attempt is, if we're off 1%, let's split the 1% and call it a day. Y'all be in favor of that?
That's 74,
6.5.
73.5.
Hold on just a second.
6.5.
Instead of 74, you're saying 73.5.
Right.
That'd be, what it'd be,
So
26.5?
73.5 and 26.5.
About 800,000.
It's only about
It's
180,000.
It's what, 385 per percent? 385 per,
I don't think he does.
Percent.
I know that. Figure this out.
Splitting the difference. 73 and a half, 26 and a half. Split the difference of the 1%.
Be done. All right, I like it.
That's it.
That's it.
73.5.
73.5, 26.5.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Second. Thank y'all.
You need a vote on that?